principal before moving to the top spot and running the Louisiana High School Athletic Association in 2007. He's been serving in that capacity since. Now as executive director, he's overseen many reforms and changes during his reign. A very difficult job. And just ask him. He's probably aged about 30 years in the last 5 years, but he's done a very good job in the process. Please give a warm welcome to LHSAA Executive Director, Mr. Kenny Henderson. Kenny?
Thank you, Ken. This is always a great honor to be able to come down and speak with you guys and ladies here at the Quarterback Club, and it's always an exciting time of the year because this is sort of culmination of our fall championships. We've already had swimming and cross country and volleyball, and now we'll have football, and then we'll get into the winter sports with wrestling and soccer and basketball before we finish up with the spring sports. So this is always a good time for us. As Coach alluded to, this year is the first time in the history since we've done power rankings that we actually have all 5 classes that number 1 will end up playing number 2, and so that's a real big accomplishment just in itself, because we had some higher seeds that made it as far as the semifinals, or lower seeds, however you want to look at it, that made it to the semifinals, but ultimately the number 1 and number 2 teams prevailed, and they will meet each other in the championships. Just to let you know, the championships will be this Friday and Saturday at the Superdome. We changed the times, we moved them back, and so the first game on Friday will begin at 4 p.m. and that will be the Class 1A state championship. And that particular game will have number 1 Ouachita Christian out of Monroe playing number 2 Haynesville out of Haynesville. So they'll start off at 4 p.m. At 8 p.m. we'll have the Class 4A state championships, and that will feature number 1 Neville out of the Monroe area versus Edna Carr from here in New Orleans. So they'll play at 8 o'clock. Then we'll start off on Saturday at 12 p.m., 12 noon, with the 2A state championships. That has number 1 John Curtis from here in the New Orleans area will be taking on number 2 Evangel Christian out of Shreveport. So that should be a very good game. At 4 p.m. we'll have the 3A state championships with number 1 Parkview Baptist from the Baton Rouge area taking on number 2 Notre Dame from the Crowley area. And then we'll have our final game of the night, which hopefully there won't be very many seats left. Should be a good game, should be a good crowd. And that game will be number 1 Archbishop Rummel versus number 2 Barb out of the Lake Charles area. So we've got some very, very good matchups, should be some good games. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. I know the last time that Rummel came to the Dome, we almost didn't get them in the Dome. It was raining so hard that the teams had to wade through about knee-deep water to get in, and there was even a question as whether or not they would make it in, but ultimately they did make it into the Dome. They told me, and I'll be honest, I didn't go out to watch it, but they told me it was raining hard enough and so much rain that the manhole covers were actually floating down the street. So that's a lot of rain. But hopefully we'll have better weather this year. The admission prices this year, $13 and for 13 pre-sale tickets and 16 at the door for general admission, and 16 and 19 for a reserve seat. All of last year we had that section downstairs that was separated out, something that the Dome wanted us to try. It didn't really work, and so all of the bottom area, I forgot what we call that, the plaza area, that would be that's general admission seating, and all of the loge area is is reserve seating. So, and then we have the suites that different people will also purchase, and those ticket prices are $25. So that's what we've got going this weekend. To put that all in perspective, we've got all of this going, and we've also got reclassification going, and so that's always an argument every 2 years that we have, when we have to divide them back up and try to put everybody back into districts, and that's not an enjoyable process at all. So that's just a couple of things that we've got going. Have we got any questions from anybody?
Raise your hand.
Yes, sir.
I hear there's a proposal for there to be a split between the private and the public school that have their championship and the public school have their championship. And is that getting voted on like in January, I believe? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that has any possibility of passing?
I don't know. I really don't. You know, it depends on who you talk to. Is what the outcome of that's going to be. And to make it a little bit clearer, it's really not the way it's written up anyway, is not it doesn't say public and non-public. It says selected mission schools and non-selected mission schools, because then it describes what a selected mission school is, which would be all of your non-public schools. It would also be your charter schools, and it would also be your magnet schools, because those schools, according to this author, is able to select who they want to come to their school. And that does not affect the regular season. In the regular season, if you're in the district with Coach Curtis, well, then you play a regular season matchup. But in the playoffs, that's when the split happens. And so if that were to pass, next year we would have 7 state championships. You'd have 2 select state championships and 5 non-select. So that is a proposal that's being authored. It's got several different authors. The main author is our principal from Winfield. Yes, sir.
How many select schools are there?
Well, I'd have to go back and look. We have about 20% of our schools right now, so that's around 80-something schools that are non-public. But then by the time you add the charter schools in there, and then you add the magnet schools, you'll be up around probably 110 out of the 389 schools that we have. And not all of those, not all of the 389 schools have football. It's only 200, I believe 292 schools have football. And so not all of those schools, when I say that 20% of our schools are non-public, that not all of those will have football either.
This would only affect football, or would that be basketball?
That particular proposal, there's actually a proposal that's still on the table from last year that affected all sports. But there is a proposal that is specific just to football. Yes, sir. I look at what, sir?
So if you look at the history of all the state championships in the last 30 years, from 1A to 4A or 5A, it's been over the years. How many private schools have won percentage-wise, and how many public?
I really don't know off the top of my head. I know, if we look at the number of schools that we have this year, I think we have 6 non-public schools that will be in the championships this year, and that means we'll have 4 public schools that are in the championships. I believe that's correct. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Henderson, what do you think his attendance going to be this weekend? Do you think you'll break records? And as far as the seeding, all 5 games are 1 versus
Right.
2 seed. You think other sports, whatever Magic Day is, something like that happening in the odds?
Yeah, we've had that in some other sports that we do. The power rankings, that it's happened that one play is played 2. But I think that's really going to make a difference this year. Rummel hasn't been, Coach, I don't know, in 4 years maybe now? 3 years? And so they haven't been here in a while, so their fans are really going to want to come, and so hopefully that'll boost the New Orleans area to come. Barb has never been to the playoffs. And so I understand they're shutting down electricity over there. And, just everybody's coming this way for the game. And then when you look at the 4A game, that's a matchup that everybody's been looking forward to since last year at this same time. Because those same two teams played last year in the 4A state championship, and everybody sort of pointed at that. So I think there's going to be a lot of interest in that also. Parkview versus Notre Dame, they've played each other in the past. They always bring a good crowd. And Evangel and John Curtis are 2 classic teams that will be a great game there, and hopefully a great crowd there. I used to be the principal of Haynesville, and I know that they definitely turn off the electricity up in Haynesville whenever they make it. So just the thing you got to look at with a 1A school, they only have so many kids. That's why they're 1A, and so their fan base even though they may bring every one of them, won't be as big as some of the other schools. But, you know, it's special for them to be able to be there. It's just like it would be for any school.
Sir, will the games be live on TV this year, or will they be delayed?
They will be. There'll be a tape delayed this year. You know, that's when we did the 2 years that we did live, which was one of the years that Rommel almost got flooded out of the building. We had 2 years, and our attendance at the Dome went down 5,000 people, and we really haven't picked them back up since then. And so this year it'll be tape delayed. We've got a new contract with Fox Network, and they'll be doing the broadcast this year. Anything else? All right. Thank you all very much.